Coming up on this week's news, tolls are still an option for the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge in North Carolina, and more likely than ever for the I-5 bridges connecting Washington and Oregon. Plus, lawsuits to bring back tolls have been filed in New York City. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's update of all that's coming down the pike. The option to levy tolls on the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge in order to fund a bridge replacement remains on the table despite a recent round of healthy new funding for the project, which is expected to cost about $485 million. Officials with North Carolina's Transportation Department told local media in Wilmington the state is close to being able to eliminate the option, but it remains a possibility. NCDOT Secretary Joey Hopkins was speaking with reporters at a recent event at which nearly $250 million in federal funding was announced as part of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. While that covers nearly half the bridge's replacement cost, Hopkins told local public television they are still about $85 million short of fully funding the project without a toll. Hopkins and local officials told WHQR Public Media they feel they are getting close to closing the funding gap, but that much work remains before they can categorically rule out tolling for a replacement bridge. Meanwhile, tolling remains an option on the Interstate 5 bridge connecting Oregon and Washington over the Columbia River, even though a $1.5 billion funding grant was secured this month from the Federal Highway Administration. That new grant, combined with an existing $600 million in funding, brings the total amount allocated to $2.1 billion. At least another $400 million in grants is being sought by the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program, which is being pushed by officials in both Washington and Oregon. The bridge replacement project aims to replace the current spans, one of which is over 100 years old, and it seeks to include a multimodal transit corridor as part of the new project. An announcement released by the IBR states the tolling remains an integral part of funding for the bridge replacement project. A pair of lawsuits have been filed in New York, aiming to reinstate the Metropolitan Transit Authority's congestion pricing plan. That plan was to have taken effect July 1st, charging drivers a toll to enter Manhattan below 60th Street. However, Governor Kathleen Hochul put that plan on hold indefinitely in June, just weeks before the congestion pricing plan was to have taken effect. The first lawsuit was filed by the City Club of New York. That's a civic organization that is more than 100 years old. The group alleges Governor Hochul violated a state law passed in 2019 authorizing the congestion pricing plan, which would have charged drivers of regular passenger cars and the like a $15 toll to enter Manhattan. A second lawsuit was filed by a grassroots organization called Riders Alliance, which is composed of transit riders and environmental activists. The second suit argues Hochul's action undermines efforts to improve air quality in Manhattan, as well as efforts to cut down on greenhouse gas emissions overall, which are known to contribute to climate change. The New York Times reports an advocacy coalition in New York, organized in part by New York City Controller Brad Lander, has not ruled out additional lawsuits. City officials and the MTA estimate the cost to implement the congestion pricing plan has already cost upwards of $1 billion, and that is money that could go to waste if the plan is not eventually allowed to go into effect. From the In Case You Missed It file, North Carolina is giving locals a break on tolls. The state announced a new NC Quick Pass program for drivers who use only North Carolina toll roads, one that eliminates the need for a transponder altogether. The program is called NC Only, and it is essentially the equivalent of registering your tag for license plate tolling, only this program is only available to those who are living in North Carolina and only for those who use only toll facilities in the Tar Heel State and nowhere else. The NC-only program will extend a discount of up to 35% on tolls on the Triangle Expressway and Monroe Expressway, as well as the I-77 express lanes. Coming up next week, are the smishing texts targeting drivers for fake tolls here to stay? It seems the warnings about the scam have become an integral part of many agencies' websites. Until then, drive safely, and as always, remember situational awareness. Thanks again for watching from all of us at Turnpikes.com, the Turnpike Authority.